SOS, help. Every time you've had a drink and felt like your shoulders go down or that kind of euphoric, blissful feeling of a buzz, that's why people drink, right? We feel that and then we remember that. Okay, our brain is like, bookmark that, would you? Put a bookmark there because that was really great. But here's the deal, it's not really great because it ends up taking from you, not only for hours, but for days afterwards. Even one drink, much less a drinking session where you're having two, three, four drinks, opening a bottle and then opening another, losing count. That's when your brain is like, it is on autopilot, right? And it's actually the alcohol itself that's now in control. Your brain has literally been hijacked by alcohol. So it's important to know that your brain believes something helps. So it will keep bringing it up. Like alcohol helped me. It helped me unwind. It helped me be social. It told me I was a better dancer. We've all seen the video. So our brain, it's trying to pull up what it remembers. It remembers the relief more than it remembers the regret. I've read so many great books in the quit lit world. That's quit lit, quitting literature about drinking. My friend William Porter wrote another excellent book. It's in my book recommendations. Not only have I written a book, I've read a lot of books about drinking and you're thinking about drinking and your beliefs and all the things. And one of the things that William talks about is you don't often associate anxiety or anxiety with the actual drink itself. We just think, oh, I'm just an anxious person. I mean, which came first, right? The chicken or the egg? And so what he says a lot of times is we have this euphoric buzz or this relief or this connection to the reward. And then it ends up costing us our good night's sleep, our health, our memory, all these things. And we actually have increased cortisol, increased stress, more anxiety. And we don't tend to attach the two. We're like, well, the drinking was fun. Now I'm stuck with all these negatives. I guess I need another drink to make them go away. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it is, but you're not. You're not crazy. That's crazy. And if you can call it out as that's crazy, you're not crazy, I think you're doing really well. Last point I want to make is why our brain won't let it go. Your brain is trying to solve for relief. Your brain remembers the relief more than the regret. So again, if you can keep that in mind, we use a lot of tools here in our tribe. Earlier at the beginning of this workshop, I talked about how back when I was drinking, I literally looked at alcohol as a tool to take my anxiety away, help me connect better with my husband, make me more social. I looked at alcohol as a highly valued tool, but it was a tool that actually took from me. It didn't aid me. It didn't help me. So I want to talk to you in this last point with good news, okay? Because we've definitely identified the challenge. We have definitely identified the problem. It's not really a drinking problem. Yes, I had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, but I really had a thinking problem more than a drinking problem. In fact, it was my thinking about the drinking that was more exhausting than actually drinking itself. So what I want to talk about now is how to quiet the noise. How do we do this? How have I, in these years, and many other women that I've gotten to work with along the way, found a way to devalue alcohol to the point that you don't hear the voices in your head anymore negotiating with you about drinking? Here's the deal. And I say this often. If you're new, this is one of your first workshops. I'm so glad you're here. You're going to get to hear me say this over and over again. Well, first off, I've never regretted not drinking the next day. I've never regretted not drinking the next day. In fact, I'm making this recording on a Friday. I plan my Friday nights now based on the Saturday and now Sunday, Monday that I want to have. So a lot of the tools that I'm going to tell you right now are so practical that I did put them in the 21-day reset challenge. So if you're here for this month's challenge, you're going to love it because I'm just giving you a teaser here in this workshop. But what I really do in the reset is spend a whole day on a lot of these concepts because I want you to know you really can change your thoughts around drinking, the way you see it, and the more you devalue your relationship with alcohol, the more you devalue it as a highly prioritized, this works tool to a, that takes from me, that's not giving to me, then you'll look at it different. One of the things you can do to reduce or quiet the noise is to reduce the amount of decisions that you make around drinking. Okay. Hear me on this one, ladies. It is so much easier, and trust me, I've tried it all. It's so much easier to make one decision than multiple decisions around drinking. When I was stuck in the detox to retox loop, I bet I thought about drinking or negotiated with myself. Am I going to drink tonight? Should I drink tonight? Am I going to have one? Am I going to have two? Maybe I'll just drink on the weekends. Maybe I'll just have white, not red. Yeah, my gosh. I mean, it's just so much. Oh, just even talking about it almost kind of like stirs me up of like, it's so stressful. It is so stressful. So if you can reduce the amount of decisions in your life in general, again, our bodies are wired for repetition, less energy, and the path of least resistance. The more you can decrease your decision fatigue, and that's very real. I talk a lot about that in the AFL course, which is the next step after the reset. In AFL, we talk a lot about decision fatigue, because when you're deciding what to wear, what to say to your boss, what to drink tonight, I mean, it's a lot. So if you can begin to reduce decisions, set out your clothes the night before, pack your lunch, take a familiar route on your way to work. These are good. These kind of relieve your brain of like constantly deciding. Decide in the morning, I'm not drinking tonight, and then I'm going to give you some practical tools so that you can actually follow through with that. You want to create structure. I tell you, anybody out there, leave this in the comments below. Are you a person of habit or like routine? I am. I do really good with routine. You are. That was so much fun. I came back, I hit the ground walking, and then started running. And then I've got my son in town. He's been in town all week. So I've been about 3 weeks off of my routine. And you know what? I can feel it. I can feel it. My decision fatigue is a lot higher because I'm out of routine. And when I'm in routine, I'm actually making less, what's the word, minor decisions, so that I can leave my bandwidth for major decisions, because I have to make those too, just like you do. So I don't want to spend all of my bandwidth on minor decisions. What am I going to eat? What am I going to drink? What am I going to wear? What am I going to say? Am I going to drink tonight? Am I not going to drink tonight? I'd rather minimize that racket in my head, that noise, and focus on intentional living, mindful May. How do I want to show up in my own life and be fully present, fully awake, fully there? That's where I want to spend my time now, not on all of these little decisions. And then just remove negotiation. Sounds easier it's easier said than done. I know, I realize. But one of the ways you can do that is pre-decide your evenings. We talk a lot about this in Sober Sis, the 3 Ps. Pre-deciding, pre-planning, and playing the movie forward allow you to stay in that driver's seat. That's the goal. You don't want to hand over the car keys of your mind, if you will, taking the analogy here. You don't want to hand over the keys of your mind to a mind-altering substance that's going to take you places you don't really want to go. That was me. I was drinking and I was like, well, I've lost my sober mind. So at that point, I wasn't the one really making the choices. Alcohol was. And that's not a good thing. It did not work for me anyway. So in the 21-day reset, it works because we remove a lot of that nightly negotiation, because we're connecting. We're talking about it. We're taking away the isolation and the negotiation where it's just in your own head. So to the point that you want to mentally explode, so you end up drinking instead. In our sisterhood, what we do is we use that time for connection with other like-minded sisters, and we talk about what we're doing at wine o'clock instead of drinking. We encourage one another to stay the course. Keep your eye on the prize. How do you want to feel tomorrow? We're here really rooting for each other. And so if you can interrupt the loop earlier, if you can start to recognize, again, the goal with changing the way you think about drinking, or even the amount of time that you're spending thinking about drinking. The goal is not to deny it, suppress it, or resist it, or even deprive yourself of the craving thinking. It's better if you just say, you know what? I've got a craving, or I sure am thinking about it. I'm thinking about it because I've got mental tug of war because I want two different things. And you have to just play the movie forward and say, which one do I want more? The short-term relief, which is going to cost me way more than it's giving me, or more of a long-term rest, like rest for my head, my heart, my soul. That's what I want. And drinking never gave that to me. It gave me a 20-minute, 30-minute buzz, a little high. And then I spent all night long chasing it or feeling bad the next morning and just thinking, well, I already blew it. I might as well have another drink tonight. And that's not what we're doing in our tribe. We're not shooting for perfection. We're not looking for how many days you can just check a box. We're looking for taking every opportunity to practice being mindful, every opportunity you have to practice creating a new alcohol-free experience for yourself so that your brain gets the memo. Look, I can survive a wedding, a date night, a vacation, a trip without a drink in my hand. And if you take the 21-day reset challenge, the good news is you're not having to do it alone or in isolation or just in your own head. You can do it out loud with other women who get it, where there's no judgment, no labels, no shame. And you're going to find a lot of what you've been looking for internally, first by just talking about it and connecting externally. Y'all have a good day. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being on.